With the recent reveal of Marvel Spider-Man 2 gameplay, we got a ton of new information, lots of interviews from the actual developers of Marvel Spider-Man 2 that were, interviewed by a ton of different sort of, news outlets. We've got one from IGN, and this is talking about how Insomniac set out to create a borderline brutal Venom suit. So we're going to be going into a ton of new, Venom and symbiote suit information. We also have a few new images. So, sit through the entire thing and enjoy the new information. Let me know, what you think of the symbiote suit down below. I think it's peak. I think it looks amazing. And I genuinely love the new take from Insomniac on the classic style. So the first thing I'll show you is the new, symbiote image here. It's like a better still from the actual gameplay. And from another interview that I did read, they said that the gameplay that we all saw was from a way older build, and they're constantly improving the game, obviously and clearly, right? So it's gonna look incredible. Don't even worry about it. I'm gonna make a separate video about all the hate and things because it's ridiculous, man. People calling this game like, PS3 quality or whatever. So this screenshot's actually titled Marvel Spider-Man 2 Gameplay Reveal Pete Webwings 4K 2023, which is pretty cool, right? So, having all that information. But here we go with the actual, article. In 1982, then Marvel editor-in-chief Jim Shooter purchased the idea of a black costume for Spider-Man from a 22-year-old fan named Randy Schuler for $220. Damn, bro, $220, and then they made like millions and millions. Oh, dude, to be that guy, I would have taken like a 1% of like stock or something. After rejecting Schuler's story ideas, Shooter came up with the suit being made of an alien material, the symbiote that would alter Peter's powers as well as his look. The rest, as they say, is history. Already one of the coolest and most beloved Spider-Man designs in comic history, Insomniac Games will be taking its own spin on the costume when Spider-Man 2 comes out later this year. During the first gameplay trailer, Insomniac revealed Peter Parker will be getting his own symbiote costume along with the suite of new powers and troubles. IGN sat down with Insomniac's creative director Brian Intihar and game director Ryan Smith to discuss the origins of their suit concept and how Insomniac approached the symbiote costume. If you played Insomniac's first Spider-Man game, you might have wondered why the symbiote suit wasn't one of the unlockable costumes in that game. According to Intihar, at the time of Spider-Man 1 development, the team was debating whether to include the suit or not. And this is interesting that they're revealing their thoughts as to why it all ended up the way it did. When we were deep in production of Spider-Man 1, we talked about what suits we were going to feature, and of course, as you'd probably imagine, the black suit, the symbiote suit came up, and we kind of decided, are we just going to give it as a visual thing, or are we actually going to go bigger with it? And that's when they made the decision right there. The team believed the symbiote suit needed its own game, and Insomniac made the conscious decision to not include the suit in the first Spider-Man at all, and instead hold on to the concept for the sequel, where it could get the spotlight to itself. I was surprised people didn't get as mad as I thought they would, that it wasn't in the first game. Intihar laughs. So Insomniac planted the seed at the end of the first game, with Harry Osborn covered in the Venom symbiote. Also, it's a spelling mistake, not to be that guy, but you don't have the E at the end. It's okay. You're welcome. When Spider-Man 2 was announced, Peter and Miles Morales are seen fighting Venom, and most recently we saw Peter fighting with the symbiote suit on. Well, they weren't really fighting Venom. He was just kind of there in the alleyway, looking at them, being like, yeah, I'm Venom. They weren't really fighting him. In the past, from other video games, the symbiote suit has been mostly cosmetic, but Insomniac's version of the suit comes with unique, aggressive abilities. This is what Ryan Smith had to say. I think for us, the symbiote in gameplay is about power and transformation. What really powerful moves can we imagine? How can we imagine them working with the symbiote tentacles and really changing the gameplay feel? I mean, as we saw from the gameplay, it is absolutely brutal. Like, Peter's just like, putting on his menacing voice and just smashing people into the ground, kicking them against the walls. It's been pretty crazy. The difference between how Peter plays in his normal suit versus the symbiote suit will be immediately noticeable, and there will be gameplay abilities that weren't available to players before that will be now. The symbiote punch is going to really impact a single target and stick them to walls, whereas the symbiote strike launches a bunch of enemies up into the air, and so that's something that lets you shift gears in Spider-Man's combat. It's something we didn't have before that we could bring in with the symbiote, says Smith. So it's very cool that they're changing the playstyle between normal and symbiote. I hope we're able to switch back and forth, and that it's not just stuck permanently during the story mode. Like if we can switch back and forth. Obviously, if it's stuck on us, that's fine. I don't have an issue with that. But you know, kind of Web of Shadows sort of like transformations would be cool, and taking that mechanic from Spider-Man 3, where the more you use it and keep it on, when you go to take it off, like you have a quick time event, and you know, it becomes harder and harder to take off the suit, and you see all the tentacles writhing and Peter struggling. I think that would be a really cool mechanic. Let me know in the comments below if you agree with that, because I really think that's one of the coolest features that a Spider-Man game had, and it ironically came out of a actually alright movie game. Although my favorite version of Spider-Man 3 game was definitely for the PS2. I just gotta say that. It definitely has that aggression, that addictive elements to it that you can see, yeah, changing Peter's personality. We understand that the expectations for the symbiote are really high, and we wanted it to feel different than what you would normally see adds into how Peter and Miles, so much of their moveset is based on fluidity, speed, acrobatic, and the symbiote is power, is strength, aggression, and I think we wanted to make sure that from a gameplay standpoint that was represented. Intihar says players should just take one look at Peter's new finishers, which are much more aggressive and borderline brutal. Indeed, like I said, he was just smashing people around. There were concerns that the symbiote suit could be too powerful in the game, but Intihar and Smith said that the game was balanced to deliver on the power of fantasy, but not make the game feel like a cakewalk. So the suit won't just look cool, but gives players awesome powers. Great, but what will it mean for the story? In the trailer, the suit is having a clear psychological effect on Peter, making him more aggressive even against his friends like Miles. We try as much as we can in everything we do, whether it's in gameplay. There's a narrative reason for doing it, says Intihar. It's obvious, as you saw in the gameplay reveal, the symbiote affects combat a lot, but it's going to impact the story and how the story plays out. And I think, you know, if you look into the symbiote lore from the comics, it is definitely that, like, it definitely has that aggression, that addictive element to it that you can see changing Peter's personality. But I think what we're going to continue to really explore more in this game is how does that impact the people around Peter, impact Miles, impact MJ, and impact others. Intihar says that this was the main attraction of working with the symbiote suit, not just fulfilling a power fantasy, though there'll be plenty of that, but to really dig into how this suit could corrupt Peter and damage his relationships with others. You heard Genki say at the very end is usually like this, and Miles goes, no, he's never like this. This is different. The way Peter cuts off Miles when the other's talking, we wanted the symbiote to be something serious, that when Pete's not acting like how he normally does, then what's that impact across the people that are close to them? Like, how does that impact them? The symbiote suit has different origins depending on which comics you've read, and Intihar says he won't reveal how Insomniac will introduce the suit to Peter just yet, but if you played the first game, Intihar says the team's still respecting the DNA of the franchise, but they're not going to be afraid to mix things up. But you may be able to see some clues in the suit design, which isn't just a sleek black suit this time around. If you look closely, you can see Peter has some tendrils wrapped around his arms. The goal was to reinforce to audiences that the suit is not cloth, but it's organic, and its origins will tie into why it looks a certain way, according to Intihar. I will tell you there's more to that suit than we've shown in terms of visuals, and also than we've shown in that gameplay reveal he teases. It's that blend of really wanting to have that familiarity, you know, of being black and the white symbol, but at the same time add elements to it. Some expected, some unexpected, and some yet to be revealed. So I'm going to go off on a limb here and assume that the suit indeed is alien, but it's gotten modified by Oscorp to try and heal Harry, but then maybe that's what made it more addictive and not suitable for him, I suppose. Not too sure what they're going for, but I'm excited to see that they're going to do something different with the suit, because we've seen, you know, the sort of origin for the symbiote quite a few times. Like, we've seen it in the 90s show, we've seen it in Spectacular, we've seen it in Spider-Man 3, we've seen it across a lot of media, right? So it'll be definitely interesting to see how Insomniac can do a whole different spin, how the suit affects him, and what else goes on in the game. So I'm excited to see that. Let me know what you think. Are you excited to see a completely brutal Venom as well? Not just from the suit standpoint, but also like see how he messes with everyone, because if the suit is already impacting Peter the way it does, and it messes with these relationships, how is it going to be when somebody else that really hates Spider-Man, you know, how's that going to be? Because is he going to go after Miles first before Peter to make Peter suffer. You know, there's a lot of things that could happen. So let me know again what you think of the suit and everything in the comments below. Subscribe to the channel for more Marvel Spider-Man 2 content. Check out this mod on the screen here of Marvel Spider-Man 2 symbiote suit. It looks incredible. Have an absolute wonderful day. Take care. Peace.